Welcome back to the Blindsiders. I'm Ben. I'm joined by Brian here, and we are breaking down episode 11 of Survivor 43. And in case you were holding your breath as to whether this season was going to get interesting or not, or if it was just going to be Ghost Island 2.0, I think we have a pretty solid answer.
Yes. I think you're right. I think Ghost Island 2.0 is a good way to put it, because I appreciate the probably winning gameplay for sure, but it is kind of boring at the same time.
Yeah, and I think both seasons had underrated pre-merges as well, and then the entire post-merge of both seasons was kind of a snooze fest, where a duo that seems to never get targeted for no apparent reason just kind of steamrolls to the end. And in this case, we don't even have like a Wendell and Dom kind of toss-up where you might get a tie. It seems like pretty definitively that Jesse's just going to win the season.
Does this make is Sammy the Kellen of this season then?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
The one person where like maybe
the Michael, but yeah.
Like maybe they can win, maybe you'll like and then no, they just get unceremoniously dumped at the last minute, and then hey, well,
Sammy should have listened to his gut.
He should have.
Yeah.
Oh man. We talk about sometimes players we'd like to see again. I'd like to see Kellen come back and play again. I think she had some game in her. Just kind of got on a season with two people who were really good at the game.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's as far as like people that I would want to see back from like the post merge of Ghost Island, other than like obviously Dom. She'd probably be near the top of the list, if not at the top of it. So.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, other than that, yeah. All right, Ben. Apparently, Survivor doesn't necessarily care about the, interpersonal storytelling that really made the series popular. It's all about advantages, baby. All day, all the time. We got another new advantage. What did you think of this one?
I thought it was okay until I found out how it worked, and then I thought it was really awful.
That was pretty bad. I think. Okay, so we can both agree then. Okay, twist, terrible execution, way overpowered, like for no reason.
Yes.
Obviously, just read it after the challenge. Let people know whether or not he won. Otherwise, you have to just assume he won. You have to play that he did. So just finding that advantage essentially guaranteed him another round in the game, which, okay.
Yeah. So this is what I would basically call pseudo immunity, right? Like, he doesn't have immunity necessarily, but you have to play like he does. And so he, like, for all intents and purposes does. And in this case, he ended up having it, but like, because of the way the mechanic of the twist works, like you can't vote for him. Like, it makes no logical sense to vote for him. And so like, I would compare this to like I've played in a live game where there was like a twist where as an endurance immunity challenge was going on, the people who were dropping out were sent back to camp. And then the tribal council happened like the second the individual immunity challenge ended. And so basically what ends up happening is the people who stay into the challenge later and later, like the last 2 or 3 people left, all essentially have like pseudo immunity, because you can't strategize to vote them out. And then like with the, because they have like basically like a 1 in 2 or a 1 in 3 chance of winning immunity. Like, you would have to strategize to vote them out and then also have a backup plan. So like, that makes no sense to do. So yeah, in this case, Cody has pseudo immunity. And we have 2 people randomly winning this in Indie Challenge because it was poorly designed. So we have 3 people out of 7 at the final 7 who have immunity and 3 idols in the game.
Yeah, and that could have been even worse because there's also shot in the dark. It could have been a whole disaster. But Yeah, Cody finds it. Good for Cody. Ben, this challenge, I never in 1 million years thought that it would be built to where it wouldn't be fully submerged underwater at a certain point. That never
Yeah.
crossed my mind. What did you think? Were you on the same page as that?
Yeah, I don't understand why this was seemingly celebrated. Like, okay, first of all, I don't know about you. I hate this challenge. I think it's really stupid. I think like it's a challenge that they should have done once way back in the day, and they should have probably reevaluated afterwards and was like, yeah, this is a bad challenge that we shouldn't ever do again. But they kept on doing it over and over again, and then it was retired for a while. I think they showed the last time they did it, which was in Caramoan.
Caramoan, yeah.
And they haven't done it since. So yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on like Last Gasp as a challenge overall?
I think it's whatever. I'm not a big at this point in my life a big challenge person. Like I can take them or leave them. It's I think it's fine if you put the grate at a point where it will eventually be underwater. I mean, the first season of Survivor had just a straight up hold your breath challenge. So like whatever, I'm fine with that. It's definitely like if you're like afraid of drowning, which I mean, drowning's bad. I think no one wants to drown, but like I think psychologically it could probably affect you pretty badly. I kind of want to try it just from like the point of view like what's the feeling. But I don't think it's ever going to come back now that it didn't work this time. And like you said, it had been gone for a while anyways. So yeah, it's fine. It's kind of like it stands out because it's unique, right?
That's true, I guess. Yeah.
Like, hey, there's that challenge where they drown people. Interesting. Jeff loves it, obviously. I tweeted it at the time, but he had a comment where it's like, it's more old school, and we used to really torture the players. And it's like Jeff is like, yeah, CBS doesn't let us torture the players anymore.
Yeah, well, you could like visibly see his boner during the challenge if he's watching it. So, like,
yeah, no, he loves it. He loves this challenge. So, I don't know. I think there's plenty of other challenges though they could easily do again that they never do again. Speaking from Caramoan, just because it was the next one, the one where you have to like dive and like pull yourself and grab buoys and like move them from one side of like a raft to another. They could do that again. That'd be probably more entertaining than watching people drown for 10 minutes.
And they also have like used to have I think way more balance beam on the water challenges than they do recently. I feel. So I think there's a lot. My take on it is like basically like it's not fun enough to watch to override how dangerous it seems to be for the contestants.
Yeah.
Like it like the pros for me just don't outweigh the cons. Like that, I feel like Survivor is almost lucky at this point that somebody hasn't gotten like their hand or arm caught in a grate and like almost drowned from water. This. Yeah,
that's a really good point. Yeah.
So like I don't know. Well, I think it would be fine. Yeah. I think it would be fine if like the strategy wasn't to like entangle your body with the grate.
Right.
Because that seems just so unnecessarily dangerous.
Yeah.
No,
I agree there. Yeah, you're right. I hadn't necessarily considered that.
Yeah.
That would be a horror show. I don't know what.
Yeah. Well, there's also, I mean, the other one that comes to mind is the one in Nicaragua, the tribal challenge, where they're on the wheel and they have to like dunk the tribe mates' heads underwater, and they have to like open their mouth, collect water, and then spit it into a thing. And it's like, I don't know if they didn't think that one through, or like, oh, somebody could just the person whose head is going underwater not being the one in control of how long their head is underwater. It just seems like so poorly thought through that it's like,
yeah, they did it 2 seasons in a row too.
Yeah,
I think because they just like, well, we built it, we're not gonna not use it again. Yeah, there have been some. That's an off-season podcast. So like the dumbest
a list of most
challenge.
like questionable and dangerous challenges. Yeah,
that'd be fun. Yeah,
but
I think it's insane that they didn't plan it in a way to where it's going to end 100%. Like, I cannot believe they put it in a place where the water wouldn't cover it completely, and then they had to pivot. This would be fine if this was the final 10, even, but the final 7, that's pretty low to have 2 people have immunity.
Well, 3 people have immunity.
3 people have immunity.
Yeah, super egregious. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on, like, do they just turn it into a pure endurance challenge at this point and, like, go 12 hours like they did in
They can't. I don't think they have enough time with the 26 days.
Yeah, maybe. That's.
And it gets dark. Presumably, there's wildlife in the water, like sharks and stuff. Like, could you, like, at least in Palau, they were out of the water, which, I mean, I'm sure Palau had a bunch of sharks there too. Not that sharks would attack people right away, but it's like still not a great thing to leave your contestants in the water during the nighttime. Yeah, I just don't see how you could turn it into just straight endurance challenge with the 26 days format, because I don't know if every day from now on is going to be a vote off, but there's probably only like one off day left, right?
What if they did like a sudden death final hold your breath underwater?
That's fine. They'd have to agree to it, right? The 2
I mean, do they? Like, I mean, Survivor has changed the rules of challenges on the fly constantly, like, historically. Like, it happened a bunch of times where Survivor has changed the rules.
Yeah. I think if Jeff had said, it would have been fine. I mean, like I said, I don't really care too much about the challenges. Yeah, I don't know. Could he have offered it to them? Like, listen, it's going back down. This is what we're going to do. Let me know if you're here. Yeah, I don't know. It's like Brenda and Andrea made up their own rules. Speaking of Carbone again, but they weren't forced to. They just agreed to speed the challenge up a little bit. But yeah, I would have been fine if Jeff was like, "Okay, you're just gonna hold your breath now because we're on a timeline here. We got tribal to do. We got all this stuff. So chop."
No, I mean, I just, if you're going to make a challenge, like, first of all, if you're going to make a challenge that, like, can not end the way that it's supposed to, have, like, a backup plan that is, like, well established, and, like, 2, like, when it ultimately fails, don't, like, make it this celebratory moment, because to me, it's not a celebratory moment. It's like a really stupid moment. Obviously, great for Carla and Owen, and, like, very impressive that they were able to, like, essentially break the challenge. But, like, the production shouldn't be celebrating it.
No. Yeah, at least, like, when they used to do the full size deck of card challenge instead of the little one they have now, I'm pretty sure they eventually just put a rule in, like, if after an hour no one's completed it, then whoever just has the highest stack. They should always have if after a certain amount of time, then we modify the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, they have historically done that since, as we mentioned, since Palau. Like, the Palau Final Immunity Challenge was, like, the breaking moment for the production team. There was like, oh yeah, we have to, like, design challenges in a way where we have a definitive winner after X hours. It is impressive that there are still challenges that isn't the case on. But I guess we can move on from that mini rant.
Good for Carla. They did it. Yeah, so I guess it seems that Sammy was going to go home the whole episode, right? Like,
Yep.
there's really
I
no.
did like 2 minutes in.
Yeah. So, I mean, he got his hand caught in the cookie jar, as just spent one too many times like trying to be sneaky, and it got him. But I appreciate that he tried at least to be sneaky, because that's not the current meta of Survivor at all.
Yeah, no, especially not on this season. He's like one of the only people to, to try and do something, even though he failed to do really much of anything.
I do wonder if it's an age thing too. I know he didn't say he was 19, but he probably comes off at least pretty young. And I feel like there's an inherent, like, we've talked about it on this, I'm sure, on the Have Not Room. When you're like different in age from people enough, it's kind of like people don't relate to you as much and maybe don't listen to you as much, even if like you might have some good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, like basically anything that makes you like stand out is going to do that kind of just intrinsically, and agent especially because there's more actual tangible effects of like being a young person as far as like affecting your personality. So it makes sense that.
And Sammy was like a great representation of Gen Z, I would say. The haircut, the the dancing, the just like, I don't know. I liked Sammy as a player. I thought he was fun for sure. I do think he just played in the wrong time. I feel like if he played at another time where Elon Musk wasn't such a controversial figure, Survivor Twitter could have gotten that Tesla for him. They could have tweeted at Elon enough to get him to give this kid a Tesla, but probably not now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely did not is not aging well.
No. Well, his mom, she's aging great, it seems. She knew. She's like, get this Tesla out of here. Fuck that. But yeah, I thought like the big controversy, it wasn't really a controversy. Obviously, it didn't end up leading anywhere. Cody was reluctant to keep Cassidy in the game, even though Carla literally, like, for no reason, like, stabbed herself in the back by throwing Cassidy under the bus. And Jesse realizes that, and Jesse's like, listen, we're perfectly good because we can keep Cassidy and just be like, yeah, Carla was coming after you. Done. They're split, and we get Sammy out now. Like, I think everyone who goes on Survivor hopes that everything lines up as perfectly as it is for Jesse.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing, because like Jesse is set up so well this round, but it's not even due to anything he did, right? Like Sammy completely snows Carla for like over like the stupidest lie ever. That's like super easy to fact check, and Carla just like believes him intrinsically, uses that information to like start to make a boneheaded move, and then doesn't follow through with the boneheaded move. So now she has like no leverage, and she has no respect, and she has no options. So like, where is she going from here? I don't like I said, this is like the episode where it really drives home that this is Ghost Island 2.0. This is also the episode where like my last hopes for Carla having any win equity in this season are completely dashed. Yeah. Like I went from like, oh, Carla might win this game last week still, to be like, okay, yeah, Carla is not winning the season, like straight up. Like they spent the entire episode bashing her in the edit for literally no reason, because Cassidy was a decoy boot.
Yeah. I don't know why she did that either, and it seems like it's going to get back to Cassidy in the next episode.
Yeah,
as it should.
Obviously.
And so that she just for no reason she just blew up her own game. Which, hey, congratulations, Jesse. Pay off some of those Harvard student loans. I would imagine that's very expensive, so it's really just worked out great.
Yeah, I mean, look, assuming Jesse wins the season, I think that we're probably after the finale going to have a conversation about like where he ranks as far as like first time winners and like 1-for-1 players or whatever. So I think there's probably going to be a conversation of like, is he top 10? Is he top 5? Assuming he does close this out, which I can't imagine how he doesn't, because his name has never been brought up as a target the entire season, even as he's like blatantly running the game, and he's at the final 6 with 2 idols that nobody knows about. So it's like, how does he lose is my bigger question, right? It's kind of like Marianne at the final 5 last season, where it's like, how does she lose? Right?
Yeah.
But like for me, it's been like, how does Jesse lose for the last like 7 episodes? So
yeah, I don't know. What I also thought was kind of crazy, Gabler, Owen, and Sammy have played this entire game together, and they didn't like even try to be like we're 3 of the final 7. Like, we just got to get past this vote, and we're almost assured like to get to the end together. Like that shocked me, Ben.
Yeah, I love how we had this big kind of we talked last week for the preview of this conversation that was teased of Gabler coming up to Owen and being like, this is how we make the final 3. When it ended up being like Gabler's just doing damage control and just like feeding Owen bullshit to like get him off his case. It's like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like when the most exciting conversations are fake, like where are we going? What are we doing here?
The editors are like, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
We have nothing. But yeah, I mean, at least I'm glad we talked about it last week about the shot in the dark, because it actually came up. It didn't hit, but that's okay. Sammy played it in the exact like spot where you're supposed to, right? Like he knew it was him. May as well play it and see what happens. Didn't hit, but I'm glad he went out swinging.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's the only person in the season to try to play the shot in the dark, right? And he played it correctly. He's, I think, the 3rd or 4th person to play it correctly. It's still never succeeded over 3 seasons. Nobody has hit safe, which I assume means we're going to see it again next season, because they're going to keep on throwing it against the wall until at least somebody gets it, just with like the knowledge of power advantage.
I don't mind the shot in the dark at all. Like, it's fine.
I don't mind it because it's irrelevant. It plays no like, other than forcing blindsides, it plays no effect on the season.
I mean, it's almost kind of like I'm more worried about how idols just don't get played anymore.
Yeah,
and like, why having an idol used to be like a big target on someone's back, even as recently as like Rick Devens in Edge of Extinction. It just isn't anymore at all, and I don't get that, because it's literally like an item that gets more powerful the like further along you get in it, in conjunction with your singular vote getting more powerful the further you get into the game. So it's just like, I don't get it, Ben.
Well, I mean, we kind of talked about it last week, right? Where it's like we've gotten to a point where idols have been kind of like beaten, or I guess solved, where like if a person in power has an idol, then they're in power, and they're not going to need to play it. And if a person not in power has an idol, then everyone just like collectively acknowledges that they're a GOAT and doesn't even bother trying to vote them out. And it's just like, they'll just take up a spot in the final 3 or 4. Who cares?
Yeah. Oh man. I guess is next week the last episode, or the week after? Next week.
It's 2 more, right? It's otherwise they would have hyped the finale.
Yeah, they would hype the finale. You're right. Yeah. So, do you want to guess who's going to go out in that episode?
I mean, Owen would make sense, right? But he could also win immunity, and he also doesn't seem like a high priority target the way that Sammy was. I think probably Cassidy would be my guess.
I was going to say Cassidy as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. there's not a whole lot about this episode. We bitched about the twist.
Well, yeah, that's why because you said over text, you said like, oh, there's so much to talk about, and I was like, wait, what? Is he being sarcastic? There's literally nothing to talk about other than to like bitch about a couple of stupid things.
That was really it. I was just like in the moment, like very upset with the mechanics of the new twist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking rant about this for like 20 minutes, but it's been a day.
So
I've calmed down.
Yeah, it's so easy to design it fine. Like if it was just he gets a second necklace after the challenge,
yeah,
that's fine. That's an okay twist, right?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about that. And I was like, when I heard how it worked before it was like further explained at the challenge, I was like, oh, at the final 7, that's an okay twist. I'm okay with that. Like, you know, I would rather that than like introducing a steal a vote or something crazy that could like totally flip the way that the strategy works. Like an extra immunity necklace, the final 7, whatever. But the way that it worked was just so stupid.
We gotta chill on these twists, Jeff. We gotta reel it way back. All right, man. Like, trust your cast, please. We've been saying it for 3 seasons, but please.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, it didn't. I don't think it ended up mattering, right? Because I don't think Cody was going to get targeted. Like, if Jesse's name is not coming up, Cody's name wasn't going to get come up. So, like, I don't think it mattered, but it could have, right? It could have mattered.
Yeah. All right. Well, other than that, anything you want to touch on or promote or anything?
No, I mean, you know, at this point, I'm just expecting Jesse to win. If Jesse doesn't win, I think I'll probably at this point be disappointed because it would be a horribly told story that makes no fucking sense at all.
It was Gabler all along.
Yeah, like look, I don't want Carla. Like I talked about, like, oh, who am I rooting for last week? I was rooting for Carla. I'm not rooting for Carla after this episode. I don't want Carla to win. I have no attachment at all to Cassidy. And you know, the Charlie Brown with the football thing was funny, even though he did Schroeder dirty. You know, like Schroeder's, you know, an icon. You know, and calling him the piano guy.
I know. That was insane.
Rude.
It was. I have a tree that's much like his tree from the movie right now. I feel it. Yeah, that was messed up. You're right.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't root for Owen after he did Schroeder dirty, and also he's been completely incompetent for 90% of the season. So I can't, in all good consciousness, root for him. Like, who am I supposed to root for, like, other than Jesse at this point? Like, who am I supposed to want to win? I just want Jesse to win so I can talk about whether he's like a top 5 player of all time. That's all I want.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
So that's it.
Man. Well, where can we find you online?
You can follow me on social media at Ben Sharon. You know, I don't really use social media too much these days. I've been trying to stay off it. Like I like browse through Reddit occasionally. But I don't post very often on Reddit. I just kind of lurk. So not really worth plugging anything there.
Right. I think that's a healthy way to approach social media these days. You can follow me on Twitter at the Fake Me Mars, BMARR. Channel is on Twitter at We Could Get Everything. Also do a sports show very often throughout the week. That's We Could Get Sports. We're talking all kinds of, like, all the big American sports, and then also we're covering the World Cup and the Premier League, which is very fun. I'm learning a lot about soccer, which is good. It made the World Cup very exciting. Now I had like a little bit of a basis to, like, you know, other than just blind patriotism of rooting for the US. But please check us out there. That's youtube.com/wickedgoodsports. The channel is on Instagram at Wicked Good Everything, Twitch at twitch.tv/Wicked Good Everything, and on TikTok, search Wicked Good Sports, search Wicked Good Everything. I think that's it, Ben. It's like 20 things, but that's it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like, we'll be back. We have like I said, I think we have 2 weeks left before the finale, or a week, and then next week is the last episode before the finale. And yeah, after that, we're hopefully going to bring back Influencer Chat, which is
we're bringing it back. I'm committed.
Circle podcast for season 5. We did it for. We talked about seasons 2 and 3, and then didn't talk about season 4, I think. And then so I mean, our we had a lot of fun talking about seasons 2 and 3 of the US version of the Circle. We talked. Yeah, it was 2 and 3. I think
it might have been 1 and 2.
It might have been 1 and 2.
Yeah. We're definitely going to talk about that. I'm going to try to watch The Mole soon so that we can do a one-off on that. I think that'd be very fun. Big Brother Canada's coming back. I'm excited for that. And we get a lot of good stuff coming up here. Too many podcasts. You'll be sick of us, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, look, reality TV is the only thing that keeps me going. So,
it's not as great as it's been in the past, but it's still pretty good. And we're still getting a lot of content now. So,
yeah, no, I mean, I expect BBK 11 to be incredible. So, at the very least, just come around for that.
So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.